Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I have a beautiful stamp set from the Not Too Shabby Shop that I'm going to be creating with in this video. This is one of the stamps from the new release from the shop, and it's called Happy Together. You can use this stamp set for many different occasions. Mine's going to be an engagement card, but you can use it for an anniversary card, a Valentine's Day card, a best friend's card. It's just a very unique and versatile set. So I'm going to pull out my colored pencils, and I'm using some paper from the Gina K Design store. It's called Artist's Choice, and it's supposed to be good for Copics as well as colored pencils. I'll use some black ink to stamp this up, and I do stamp it out several times. This set comes with a watch and a bracelet and a couple of rings that you can put on their hands and wrists. And I actually should have stamped out the watch first. I'll correct that in just a minute, but I just love these hands. They're so beautifully drawn. So here it is all stamped out, and then I put the bracelet and the watch and the rings on, and everything stamps out just fine except for the watch. You can see the lines of the wrist in front of the watch, but I just wanted to show you how I did this. I'm using a piece of acetate, and I'm going to stamp it on the acetate first, just so I can make sure I got the right placement of the rings and the bracelet and watch. They were very easy to line up. I just needed to adjust the watch a little bit, but now I can just wipe off my acetate and reuse it again. So I left the hand stamp on the door of my mini MISTI, and I'm using my regular sized MISTI to stamp out all of the accessories to the hands. And this is so that I can come in and re-ink them after I'm done with my colored pencil work. The colored pencils do tend to obscure the lines of the stamps a little bit, so I always like to crisp up the lines. But here's where I stamp out the watch and the bracelet and everything, and you can still really see the lines of the wrist. So I'm going to just keep this piece as kind of a guide for when I use this stamp. So I'm going to put a fresh piece of paper in my regular sized MISTI and stamp out the accessories first. And again, this is a piece of the Artist's Choice cardstock from the Gina K Design store. So here it is all stamped out. I also stamped a mask for the watch, and then I put it back in my mini MISTI so that I could stamp the hands again. And then I can just ink that up. And again, I ink it up several times. And now I can take off the mask, and it just looks perfect now. So cute. I'm going to keep this little mask so that I can use it again. I'm just going to stick it on the back of the packaging so I have that ready for when I want to use this stamp set again. I have to show you one of my favorite new tools. This is called a brass bullet. It's very affordable. I think I only paid $5 for it, but I heard about it from another colored pencil artist. It doesn't chew up your pencil like many pencil sharpeners do, but it takes off just a very small amount. And I really love a really sharp point on my pencil, so this is a really great tool. So I'm going to start in on my coloring, and these are my new Luminance colored pencils from Caran Dash, and so I'm just getting used to these. I haven't played with these much yet. I didn't keep track of the colors I'm using. I'm just grabbing ones that I think I will like. I'm starting with my lightest layer first, and then I'm going to build up the color. So I'm adding some shading next with this lilac colored pencil. I've used this paper in the past. It has been a while since I've used this, but it just wasn't allowing me to put down enough layers. It was just too smooth for me. I don't know. I think this would be better for your Copic markers. But I do like a little bit of texture to my colored pencil paper. And this one was just a little bit too smooth for me. I'm going in with some pinks to add some warmth to her hand. And then I come in with a lot of layers, and it does take me a while to build up the color. And whoever you're planning on giving your card to, you can kind of match their skin tones. So it can be a very personalized card that you create. Now I'm coming in with kind of some purpley reds just for the palm of her hand and the inside of her fingers and her fingertips, because the palms of your hands are a lot more red than the backs of your hands, of course. Now I can start in on the other hand. This one's going to have a little bit of a darker skin tone. And again, I'm just coming in with my lightest color first and building up the color. But it's really hard to draw hands, I think. They're challenging. But the artist of this stamp set really did a beautiful job. So I keep coming in with more colors. And I go back and forth between both of the hands. I really like coloring in skin tones. I think it's kind of challenging and fun at the same time. I still have and use my Boss Stitch pencil sharpener. Sandy Allnock recommended that on one of her videos. I've had mine for quite a while, and I do love it, but it does chew up your pencils a little bit more than this brass bullet does. And I know some people are worried about breaking the lead because of the roughness of the electric pencil sharpeners. I haven't had any problems with my colored pencils breaking because of the electric pencil sharpener. So I decided to pull out some mineral spirits. This is some Gamsol to smoothen out my coloring. I wasn't planning on this, but I just wanted to see how this paper would take it. Gamsol breaks down the wax of your colored pencil work and helps it to blend together really smoothly. And it helped me get some of the rough lines out of my work. I was just having a hard time blending them smoothly on this paper. And then once it's dry, I come in with another layer over their hands. Okay, now to color in his watch, I'm using some grays so that the top of it looks silver. And then I have some reddish browns to color in the leather of the watch. And I do come back later and color it more red. I wanted little pops of red on this card, so I do change the band of his watch to red. I'll color in his band with yellows and oranges for my shadows, just to make it look kind of shiny. And then I'm going to paint or color in her fingernail red and his kind of skin toned. And this is where I put it back into my mini Misty so I can sharpen up the lines. And you can see what a difference this makes. I do stamp it up twice again, but it really makes your lines pop. Now I can pull up the mask. Now let's pop it back in the other Misty and stamp out the accessories next. So this is the luxury of having two stamping tools. And you can make up multiple cards this way really fast. So here are the hands. I fussy cut them out, leaving a little white border around them. I have a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock that I cut out with a heart die. And I'm going to add a little bit of color to this, using some tattered rose first. This just wasn't dark enough for me once I have this down. I want it to be a little more bright. But I'm just using a blending tool to put this on. Then I come in with spun sugar, which is a little more pink. And the inks just blend beautifully on this Bristol Smooth. And now for some Kitsch Flamingo, just to add a touch more of pink. I'm using some of the beautiful pattern paper from the Not Too Shabby Shop. I thought this one would be perfect because it looks like diamonds. So I'm going to attach this to my white card base. I'll have the links to the stamp set as well as to the gorgeous pattern paper below. And next I'm going to attach my heart. The hands I'm going to use some foam strips behind to give them some dimension. And then I'm just going to center them on this heart. And then I can flip it over and cut off the overhang. I'm just using my long, sharp scissors for that. I was a little worried that it wouldn't cut through it properly because there's so much adhesive or foam adhesive behind it, but it did it all right. And now for the very best part. I'm going to put a little, it looks like a diamond jewel on her finger, so it looks like a diamond. I just love this touch. It's so fun. So here's my little white gemstone. I just dabbed off a little bit of the glue, and then I can attach that so it looks like she's wearing an engagement ring. The sentiment is next, and I'm going to stamp this on a piece of red cardstock. It just says, "Congratulations." I'll put down some anti-static powder first, and then ink it up with some Versamark ink several times so it's nice and sticky. This is some white embossing powder from Simon Says Stamp. I'll melt this with my heat tool, and then I'm going to cut this out into a strip, a very thin strip. And I will fishtail one of the ends. Okay, I decided to use the little heart from the stamp set just to put in between their hands. And I'll ink this up with the same black ink that I used. I do stamp it out several times just because my Distress Oxide ink is still kind of wet, and so it was hard to get a nice deep black color on that. I'll use the same red colored pencil that I used on her fingernail to color in the heart. And now for my red sentiment. I like just the little pops of red on this card. It's so fun. I put this down crooked, but the great thing about this pattern paper is that it has kind of a slick surface to it, so I can easily pull it up without ripping it and fix it so it's nice and straight. And here is the finished card. Oh, I just love that little diamond on her finger. But so much fun to create with. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you were inspired. Here's a look at the inside. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.